What's up, Ida Gang? Welcome into Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. My name is Fareed. As a part of today's video, we're talking about RWAs, which are set to revolutionize the blockchain and crypto industry, and it'll bring real world utility, tying the physical world that we all are extremely familiar with the tech heavy ecosystem that is blockchain and in particular Cardano. So as a part of today's video, we're diving into everything Palm. We're going to be breaking down their recent proposals that have been funded by Project Catalyst, exactly what direction this team is going in, a revamp of their website, upcoming events, and then an actual on-the-ground documentary of the real-world impact that they're having with a proposal to onboard over 50,000 Nigerian cocoa farmers into their traceability solution, which is built off of the backbone of Cardano, which directly translates to boosted and heightened activity here as a part of the Cardano ecosystem. Now, before we continue any further, if it's your first time stopping by the channel, my goal is to help you find your footing here within the Cardano ecosystem. If you appreciate content like this, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up on the way in. If you want more, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. Now, if you want to extend your support for the Dapp Central YouTube channel even further, while also earning the Night token from the upcoming data privacy blockchain, which is Midnight, feel free to delegate to either of the two Dapp Central stake pools, which share the ticker DAPP. And jumping right on in, we've got a brand new updated website here when it comes to the official palmeconomy.io platform. As always, links will be left down below, but this basically breaks down everything that you need to know, all of their current partners and integration, exactly why tokenization is such an important feature. And then there's the breakdown of all four of their core features, which include Palmyra Pro, Palmyra Express, the Palmyra platform, and Palmyra Endeavor. Now, I'll have more content coming out about each. I know that recently there's been the launch of olive oil. I believe there's going to be a launch of honey as well as tea cigars coming into their Express platform. But this essentially makes it easy, right, for any commodity grower or dealer to directly engage or interact with their end customer base. And next, we've got a brief update here when it comes to Project Catalyst. Congrats to the Palm team for getting two of their, I believe, 4 proposals funded as a part of funding round number 14. This one here is to onboard over 50,000 Nigerian farmers for their compliant traceability solutions. And Theo, aka Chef Pool, right, one of the key members and founders of Zengate, is actually in Nigeria right now. We're going to take a look at a brief documentary of him getting there, speaking with the community, and also engaging with their local farmers. But this breaks down the fact that they'll be partnering with different members in Nigeria to onboard up to 50,000 of their farmers onto the Cardano network using the ESG compliant on-chain traceability solution to track millions of events annually. Now, the second proposal is for their first ever Cardano end-to-end metal and minerals RWA ecosystem. So it states here that they'll be working to create a fully traceable and fully tokenized reserved back mining RWA platform, all built on Cardano technology, starting with gold. And then they'll work to scale across 14 different mines and include 30 plus different minerals in Latin America. This will be huge here. And I did do a dedicated interview with Daniel Friedman, their founder, who broke down all 4 of their proposals, and also spoke with Sam, who's also one of the founders, to break down their traceability solution, which we'll dive a little bit further into in just a moment. Next, we're diving into some big numbers here, where in the year of 2025 alone, we've got over $30 billion, which were injected into the RWA ecosystems. And again, that's exactly where Palmyra shines. So I want to break down this brief article here where it states that in 2025, RWAs exceeded over $30 billion in tokenized value, up over 260% year over year. This surge stems from institutional adoption, regulatory clarity under frameworks like the EU's MiCA regulations, as well as the maturation of DeFi infrastructure. Next, we've got a breakdown of some of the biggest real-world commodities, which include gold, oil, cocoa, wheat, and other tangible assets that essentially power global trade in now decentralized economies. What I like about this is the fact that with their brand new proposal that just got funded for their RWAs and minerals, they're now going to be tapping into gold. They've already tapped into olive oil, and they're now tapping into cocoa, again, with Theo back on the ground in Nigeria. Continuing on, it states here that the industry for RWAs is extremely broad, with stable coins leading at the charge. And at its core, the RWA industry's mission is to make real-world assets traceable, tradable, and trusted from cocoa in Nigeria to gold in Latin America. They talk about a couple of the different steps here involved with RWAs and traceability, which is a key pillar of the Palm economy or the Palm ecosystem. So the first thing they've got is the extraction, basically verifying outputs or what the tokens will actually represent. Then there's a processing process where they'll essentially be using smart contracts to automate payments and milestones, followed by a storage and transport step. And then there's a trading step. And then last but not least, the actual delivery of a physical asset or some sort of redemption. In closing, it states here that traceability is a big piece as well, where with commodities like cocoa, honey, or gold, right, these can actually be verified from the origin or from their source all the way up until the time they make it to their customer. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the events that the Palm team has just attended, with one taking place earlier on the 4th and the 5th of November, where we saw Sam. I'm actually going to be playing a video here in just a moment, who was representing the Palm economy team to talk about their traceability solution called Trace It. So this is essentially allows for you to trace anything across the world without actually having to understand or know or rely directly on blockchain tech, even though it is built directly on blockchain technology. So we're going to listen in here. This is roughly about 2 minutes. And then we're going to talk about their upcoming presence at the Cardano Summit, which is actually just around the corner here, taking place, I believe it's on November 12th. So let's check in and see what Sam's been up to at this most recent event.
It's Sam here. I've just touched down in Copenhagen. I'll be here for the next few days for several different events. We have a session with the UNDP as well as the Cardano Foundation to talk about Cardano for good and how development institutions can collaborate with blockchain ecosystem. We'll have a booth there where we'll be able to present the work that we're doing on the ground with our partners. Our flagship solution is called Palmyra Pro. It's a trace, comply, and trade solution where we're actively working already on the ground in Africa and soon Latin America. However, today I'm here to talk about the next evolution of what we're working on, which is Palmyra Trace, an API for blockchain traceability, enabling anyone to trace anything, anywhere, anytime, with our core focus being on procurement, supply chain, and ERP system providers, and helping them transform into blockchain-enabled systems of trust. When you do create an event on-chain, it creates a transaction ID. It comes with a corresponding QR code, which is viewable through an explorer, where you can scan to trace and verify the data on-chain. The beauty about the API itself as well is that it abstracts all of the blockchain technical components. The wallet management, the transaction building, the off-chain executors and indexes, all rolled up together in API, enabling any web developer to directly integrate, turning their Web 2 platform and Web 2 system into one that is enabled by blockchain. Imagine a world where all of these UNDP projects, many of which may have started being cloud or Web 2 focused, transform quickly to become blockchain enabled. So together, let's make our supply chains more resilient, more trusted and verified, where we can see exactly the impact that we're having on the ground, we can trust it and we can share it, and it can be visible to everyone out there.
There you go. Again, traceability, right? It's a key piece here within crypto and outside as well, being able to have the reassurance, the transparency, and the guarantee that what you are dealing with regardless of what industry or commodity, right, or field, that it is actually the truth. So again, really good to see Sam representing not only Cardano, but the Palm economy out there. Now, we are also expecting for this team to be in, I want to say it's Berlin for day 1 and day 2 of the Cardano Summit, where they're going to be talking about on-chain supply and traceability, again, their key offering. And then on day number 2, they'll be discussing digital identity solutions, exploring the future benefits of blockchain-powered digital identity. So I'll have some more content coming out about that. As always, make sure to smash that thumbs up if you do appreciate this type of content. And also consider subscribing if you want more. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure to go ahead and voice off down below. Now, there's one recent partnership that I want to briefly highlight, and then we're going to talk about exactly what Theo, aka Chef Pool, has been doing in Nigeria as we get ready to close out today's video. So that particular partnership is with Telecomsat. So it states here, Zengate Global and Telecomsat to integrate next generation livestock traceability. Again, they are in every single industry. So it says here that an MOU, or a Memorandum of Understanding Agreement, establishes a livestock traceability system that integrates an end-to-end system utilizing blockchain technology in conjunction with Telecomsat's IoT, or Internet of Things, and satellite connectivity. Now, diving a little bit into the details, it states here that Telecomsat provides RFID-enabled IoT collars, chips, and sensors that track GPS, health, and environmental data. Now, Zengate will then take all that information and integrate it on-chain, turning raw information into immutable blockchain records. Now, this will allow for each of the animals to essentially become tokenized assets. You'll be able to track and see information about each of those animals directly on chain. And this will be in partnership again with Telecomsat. So the very last thing I wanted to jump into here is the onboarding of the 50,000 plus farmers, which we've seen Theo, who's now in Nigeria representing the Palm team, spearheading. But it states here that lasting impact does not happen from a distance. It starts on the ground with real people. So without any further ado, we're going to dive into the very last clip here for today's video.
Hello everyone, this is Theodore. Just landed to the Abuja airport and we're ready for a week full of packed meetings, events, and a lot of trip within Nigeria. We're wrapping up the first part of our trip here in Abuja. We've had a lot of meetings with a lot of different government officials and stakeholders within the cocoa value chain, and we're off to Cross River, to Calabar more specifically, and we're gonna go meet the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture of Cross River. We're ready to start talking to the farmers, start our workshops. We're very, very excited. We just finished with our meeting with the Commissioner of Agriculture. We submitted a letter so we can tell them officially everything that we're going to be doing. We had a very, very good conversation. In 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have a full team coming down here and we're gonna start the work on the ground, and we're gonna start in the LGA of Boki as we've promised from the very, very beginning.
There's a lot to look forward to. We're on the ground. We've been 3 days in Nigeria now. We still have a couple of days. We're going to be back here tomorrow. There's still a lot to iron out. I think everybody's going to be super excited by the work that we're doing.
We are literally at the biggest palm oil farms. We've talked here with the people. We understand the pain points. We understand how we can plug in the technology and essentially onboard everybody on Cardano and make everyone's life easier. We're gonna start seeing all this local economy growing step by step. Stay palm because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them over here.
Meetings we had with the one thing that stands out with a lot of these farmers and stakeholders is they need more access, direct access. We're hoping that it wouldn't be just bouquet. For sure, then I will try to see if we can get more cocoa producing regions of this state onboarded onto the platform.
We're going to be back very soon, so we can ramp up the onboarding process that we've already started. We're going to be going into the Bouquet local government and look at neighboring local governments as well. There's so much to come and there's still a lot of work to be done, so stay tuned.
There you have it. We've got Theo, aka Chef Pool, on the ground, making a big impact here. It's amazing to see the real world effect that something like Catalyst has. Of course, shout out to the entire Palm team. That includes Brian, aka Hero. Same thing as Sam, as well as Dan. Again, this team really working on all different fronts, right? We saw, Sam in one area of the world. We've got Dan in a completely different area. We've got Theo in another one. They're all working together to make a real world difference. And so, again, this not only represents the Cardano ecosystem, but it represents the power that blockchain brings to humanity. So that'll do it here for today's video. As always, if you do enjoy content like this, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up on the way out. If you want more, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.